Thank you for joining me. I'm Dawn, also known as That Mama 4, together with Sports Singapore today for some yoga for seniors. And this is part 2. All right, so if you would like to learn some of the basic movements as well, do look out for the first part, Yoga for Seniors, part 1. So one of the key differences for today's practice and part 1 is that for today, I'm going to make it a little bit more dynamic. And we all need dynamic movements. Yes, for seniors, you do want to be concerned about your heart rate going up. You do want to be concerned about your ability to balance, right? So for today's practice, you will need to stand by a chair where we will use it as a support or as a prop to help us to support ourselves in balancing, and also a yoga mat. We are, after all, doing yoga, okay? And as always, monitor your resistance, okay? So if you need to do like only 3 to 4 repetitions of something that I'm asking for about 10 repetitions, or maybe we're staying for 10 breaths, then go ahead and just do 3 or 4 to start off with. And the next time you come back to this again in a few days' time, you might be able to more easily do 2 or 3 more repetitions or stay for longer, 2 or 3 more breaths, okay? So let that change and that transformation happen. Your body will adapt to the stimulus that you give it on a regular basis. However, if you're only doing it occasionally, nothing will happen. Okay, so make it a commitment to try to do this practice on a regular basis, and that's actually when you will see the changes happen. Right, consistency is key. As consistent as he is bombing my videos, there's no way I can get rid of him, all right? So he would just walk back in once again. So yes, I'm sorry you guys have to see him in all my videos. All right, so we're gonna start off in a first standing movement, okay? Warrior 1. Like I said, one of the main differences for today's practice and part 1 is that most of the movements that we're doing here, we will be doing a dynamic version, meaning you're moving. And the good thing about moving is you're going to be lubricating your joints that way. And you're working your muscles in a bigger range of motion and not just strong in one angle. You're going to be working it through a big range of motion in various angles, all right? So there are benefits in staying still, and there are also benefits in moving. Do both. Don't ask me which one is better. Do both. All right, so let's have your right foot in front of your mat and your left leg step back. Now, obviously, for most seniors, you're gonna have a lot more rest in your joints to start off with, all right? So friends, if you're encouraging your parents to start, they may have a much smaller step to begin with, and that's okay, all right? So they're just gonna start from there. One leg in front, one leg behind, all right? What you wanna do is to try to start off with your front knee bent, all right? Front knee stays bent, spread the toes open, all right? Your knees and your toes pointing towards the front for that front leg. Back leg, foot is flat, and we try to straighten that leg. Obviously, if your muscles are tight, it's gonna be difficult to straighten. So just start from the point where you feel a stretch, okay, for that back leg. What we wanna do is to straighten that front leg and raise your arms up. As you exhale, press the hands down. Let's repeat that 9 more times, okay? Inhale and exhale. And then they're gonna have more rest around the shoulders as well, right? For seniors, you guys are gonna have a little bit more difficulty raising your arms up overhead all the way. So it's okay. Go to the point where you can, all right, without feeling strain to the shoulders. We're gonna do 5 more here, repeating to raise the arms up as you straighten that front leg, and exhale as you lower the arms and bend that front knee. All right, 4 more times like that. And exhale. And 3 more, inhale. And lower, exhale. Let the breath guide the movement, okay? 2 more times. And out. 1 more time. And out, moving slow with control. And now we go to stationary, all right? So let's start off with just the hands resting on the hips, okay? So I want to work on strengthening the muscles in the legs here. So both stationary and dynamic movements, like I said, have their key benefits, all right? Have their own different benefits. So we're going to stay here in a stationary position, trying to focus on how you're distributing your weight on that standing foot or the standing feet. And then positioning your front knee to point in the same direction as your toes in front as well. So we work a little bit more on alignment here, right? But your muscles would have been more warmed up, okay, involved in this movement here. In the dynamic part of this movement, you would have already warmed up the joints and the muscles. Now, for those of you who are okay, I'd like you to take your hands towards the front and raise them up at the same time. And if you're okay, you're gonna raise them up even higher, maybe next to your ears, right? But for most people, I think you would probably just have your arms in front of your face And that's okay. All right, let's stay here for another 5 more breaths. So those who can, follow me, arms reaching up. And 4 more, you can also just have your elbows bent, and that's fine as well, right? This encourages you to open across the chest a lot more, right? 3 more breaths here. 2 more. And 1. All right, hands on the hips, and let's step forwards. All right, shake your legs out. Don't worry, it gets easier, okay? In the beginning part, we just try to raise the heart rate a bit more. And then later on, we will try to bring it down. And then that's when we do more stretches, okay? So let's do the same thing on the other side. Left foot stays in front, right leg steps back. Again, if you need to, take a smaller step, okay? Let's start with the front knee bent first, all right? Back leg straight, front knee bends. Now on the inhale, raise your arms up. As you exhale, lower the hands down. You can always stay next to the wall, all right? Holding it for balance if you need to, as you straighten and bend that front knee. All right, and 4, and out. So if it's a bit too much for your arms, all right, you want to continue with just the legs moving only, you can, all right? Don't have to think about just arms and legs moving together or not at all, okay? And exhale. And 6. So the arms going up and down doesn't just work on the muscles, it actually helps to lubricate the shoulder joint as well. Exhale. All right, let's do 2 more here, okay? And out. 1 more here. Deep breaths. Exhale. So slow down the movement, slow down the breathing. And then if you can, you raise your arms up with me. You keep it there. You're going to bend your front knee and stay right there as well. All right. If you need to, just place your hands on your hips, okay? Or maybe even on your thighs, just to help support your upper body. Relax your shoulders, all right? So just make sure that you're not holding your breath here, okay? We're gonna hold it stationary now for 8 more breaths, all right? So we hold it there for 10 breaths. If you need to, you just take a rest, okay? So this teaches your muscles to just keep working in this slightly lengthened out state, especially for that back leg. So I'm deliberately keeping my arms in front because for most seniors, your chest and your shoulders are going to be 2 very tight areas, okay? But obviously, if you've been doing exercise for a long time, no problem bringing your arms up without arching your back, okay? Then you try and keep your arms up here. Let's stay here for just 3 more breaths, okay? Anytime your arms are tired, you just put your hands down, either on your hips or on your thigh, right? Let's stay here for 1 more breath. And then very slowly, hands on the front thigh, step forwards. All right, shaking the legs out. Okay, now we're gonna move on to your next dynamic and then static movement, which also requires you to be standing up, okay? So this works a lot on the muscles of the lower body, mostly the lower body, okay? Don't worry, after that we'll be coming down towards the ground. Maybe just pause the video if you're tired and then walk around, do something else, sit down, and then come back here again to do the following exercises. You don't necessarily have to do everything at one shot either. Eventually, yes, great, if you can. For a start, especially if you've never exercised for a long time, then you just start from somewhere, okay? All right, let's have the feet out a little bit wider now, all right? Heel toe out a bit wider. Let's have your right toes turn out. Your left toes turn in. What we want to do here is to raise the arms up to the sides, and then exhale, lower them down once again, all right? Raise the arms, lower the arms, bend the knee, straighten the leg. We repeat that again, but this time in Warrior 2. So those who are more flexible, those who can balance a lot better, those who have more flexibility and mobility, you go for a wider stance, okay? So let's do this together 10 times again, all right? So take an inhale as you raise your arms up, bend that front knee, and then exhale, straighten the leg, lower the arms. Do that again. Inhale. Finish the movement at the end of the breath, okay? Exhale, lower down. We go again. 3. And exhale. Very good. 4. So if you need to, you just have a chair near you for balance, okay? Or maybe just a wall, face the wall for help with balance if you need to. 5. And exhale, lower. And 6. So again, if your arms are tired, you just work your legs, okay? Generally, the legs are a lot stronger than the arms, all right? 4 more times. And out. 3 more times. Exhale. 2 more. and out. One more time here, inhale and exhale. And now we're gonna hold it out there, and if you can, you're gonna keep your arms here with me. If not, you just rest your hands on your hips or just place them down on your thighs, okay? We're gonna stay there for another 8 more breaths, okay? Look towards your fingers in front. Look towards your right fingers. All right, so there's a bit of rotation going on around your neck as well. 6 more breaths here. 5. 4 more breaths. Now work the breathing muscles, okay? Try to take a deeper, fuller breath. 3 more deep breaths. If you're tired, like I said with the arms, lower it down, okay? 2 more so you don't end up straining your shoulders. 1 more breath here. And then slowly lower the hands down. Straighten a leg. Let's turn over to the other side, okay? But if you need to rest for a bit first, please go ahead and do that, all right? It's not going to be very comfortable the first few times you try it, but it does get easier over time, okay? So you might want to start out with just 4 or 5 at one shot, and then rest while we finish up the rest, and then come to the other side. We do 4 or 5 together. You wait for us to finish the rest. That can work too, okay? Now, once again, we're going to turn the toes out towards the left side, right? So point your toes towards the left side of your mat. Turn the back toes in, okay? Arms are out as you lower. Arms come down as you straighten. Okay, do that again. 9 more. And exhale. Slow to lower. Don't just drop. Drop means not working hard. 3. And out. And 4. Exhale. 5. And press. 6. Press lower. 7. Exhale. Now do 3 more here, okay? Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, lower. 2 more times we do. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, lower. Just 1 more time here. Inhale, extend the arms up. And hold it for 10 deep breaths, okay? If you change your mind, you can always place your hands on your hips anytime, remember. 9 more breaths here. This is so good for strengthening the big muscles around the legs. 8 more around the hips, around the arms, around the back. All right, so keep your chest open, okay? Let's stay here for another 5 more breaths. Keep the shoulders over the hips. Try not to lean forwards, okay? Keep the shoulders over the hips. 4 more. Gaze towards your left fingertips. 3 more. Anytime you need to come up first because you're holding your breath, it better come up first, okay? 2 more deep breaths here. Change takes time. Keep reminding yourself that. 1 more breath. And then very slowly, hands on the hips, straighten that front leg. Turn the toes in, heels in, toes in, heels in, toes in until you come back up to a stand, all right? Now I'm going to have you bring your chair closer towards you because we're going to be using it to help us to balance, okay? So we're going into static movements now, enough with the more dynamic ones, all right? I'm going to have you just use the seat side of the chair to face inwards, all right? Because blocks are not going to be very helpful here if you have a lot of rust to break down, okay? Now, I'm going to do the same thing that we did earlier. Remember the feet? Okay, we're going to heel toe out, or just step the feet out wider. Now, your right toes are going to turn out, okay? Right toes point towards the end of the mat. Left toes point in. Now, watch. I'm going to reach my arms out like what I did earlier. I'm going to lean forwards. I'm going to place the hand down on the chair. Other arm can place on the hip or extend the arm up to you, okay? So you can raise the arm up or you can rest the hand on the hip. So what I want you to do is to keep your chest facing the wall, all right? Other hand down, you will already feel the stretch of the inner thigh side. So this is really good for helping the hips, yeah? This is really good for trying to stretch out the inner thighs and to help the knees also, all right? Let's stay here for another 8 more breaths, okay? So this is your triangle pose, but for seniors, okay? Now, even though I say that, today's practice is, yoga for seniors, right? It is actually suitable for anybody who's very tight, okay? So even if you're in your 20s, your 30s, but you feel super duper tight, this is for you, right? Because for seniors, you have many more years to be sedentary, to not move around enough. So that means a lot more tightness also. Okay? Aging also causes dryness of the joints, drying up the joints and the muscles. But the moment you start to move, things can change, okay? So let's stay here for another 3 more breaths, okay? And 2. 1 more breath. All right, now go ahead and bend your right knee first and then push with your foot and your hand to come back up. It should feel so much better on that inner thigh, on that right leg now. Now I'm gonna move the chair around so that you can still see me, but as long as you can still see me, you can just keep your chair where it is, okay? So this is just so that I can still watch you guys, all right? You don't have to be facing my back here. Okay, so step out wide. You can heel-toe your feet out as well. Hands on the hips first. We're gonna turn your left toes out. Turn your right toes in, arms extend out. Once again, you're gonna lean towards the chair, reach for the chair, and then lower your left hand down. You can reach your right arm up towards the ceiling, or you can lower your hand down towards the hips, all right? And just stay there for 10 deep breaths. If you can, you look up. But if your neck feels tired, if your neck feels tight, you're gonna look down instead. Or you can just keep looking towards the wall, right? Either way, the focus is really an inner thigh stretch, and you may even feel a really nice stretch along the side of your waist as well, on that top side here. Okay, so good for the hips, so good for the waist, right? Holding it there for another 6 more deep breaths. There's a little bit of weight bearing going on around the hand that's on the chair as well. And weight bearing exercises are so important for seniors, okay, because it helps with, well, as long as it's not too late, okay, it really helps with reducing the speed at which we lose bone density, okay? Weight-bearing exercises are one of the best things that you can do to help prevent the onset of osteoporosis, right? Or to slow it down, okay? Let's stay here for 2 more breaths. 1 more breath, because it really gives your body the stimulus like, hey, they keep doing these exercises. Let's make those bones a lot stronger. So they deposit calcium there. All right, bend your front knee and push to come back up, all right? And slowly turn the toes in, heels in, or maybe just step it in, step by step, bit by bit. Okay, now we're gonna use the back of the chair this time round to help us with balancing, all right? So I'm gonna spin my chair around once again. All right, and I hope, if you have rolling chairs, I hope that you are able to lock it. If you don't, you know what, just push it up against a wall so it can stop moving from there. What we're gonna do now is to work on balance. Tree pose is the name of what we're gonna be doing, all right? So with your hand that's closest to the chair, just rest it lightly there. And then we're gonna keep the leg that's closest to the chair staying down first, right? I'm gonna raise my right leg up. So it doesn't matter which leg you're working on, we're gonna be working on both, okay? So you might choose to have your foot come up against your calf, or if you have more flexibility in your hips right now, we just stretch it out, right? Okay, with the dynamic movements as well as your triangle. So it may be easier for you now to try to raise the foot up against your thigh. If it's not possible, you place it against your calf, all right? So just don't be pushing it against your knee joint, all right? I'm gonna try to bring it up here, pushing the foot against the thigh if possible, and my bent knee points towards the wall on the side, all right? From here, you see, if you can just hold the chair lightly, okay? And then we're just gonna stay here for another 8 more breaths, all right? If you're okay with balancing, you're gonna try and see if you can take your hand off the chair. But don't look down. The moment you look down or the moment you try to look at your hand, you're gonna find that balancing becomes a lot more challenging. So you don't have to lift your hand too far away from the chair. Just float it off a little bit will do. And then once you find that, hey, I need help, catch the chair, okay? Stay there for another 4 more breaths. So you might try to just float your hand like magic, float it off the chair just a little bit. Stay close to the chair. 2 more breaths here. Very good. That's how you start to build up your strength and stamina on that standing leg to hold you balancing for a longer period of time, okay? Of course, if you're tired by now, you can lower it down. All right, and slowly hold the chair and then lower the foot down and then shake the legs out. You would have felt a lot of muscles around the feet working as well. Okay, so don't be surprised. Let's change over to the other side now. So right leg is going to be staying on the ground now. I'm going to take one more step away. I'm going to float my left leg up. Again, if you want to, just put it against your calf. Okay, maybe the toes touch the floor still if you need to. All right, if you can, a little bit higher on the calf. Don't push against your knee joint. Okay, and if you need to, if you're okay, placing the foot up higher on the thigh. The knee points away from you to the side. Don't point to the front. Try to bring it off to the side, okay? And then you work on your balancing once again, all right? So you could always move the chair over to the other side or not, okay? And then see if you can just float your fingers a little further away from the chair. Maybe just stay there for one breath and then catch the chair again. Just see how long you can balance. For those of you who are much better at balancing, don't need the chair at all, just hang out there, okay? All right, we're going to stay there for another 6 more breaths, all right? Focusing on your breathing and standing up tall. 5 more deep breaths here. 4 more. Think about pushing thigh against foot as well. Don't just push foot against thigh, okay? Last 3. Hi, Chewy. 2 more. All right, just 1 more breath here, okay? And then very slowly lower down. Shake the legs out. Now, there's one particular area that's very tight for seniors. Actually, not just seniors, okay? That's very tight for almost everybody. As long as you're sitting down on chairs, you know, hours on end, whether you're studying, you know, even students get that, right? Tight hamstrings, right? Office workers get it. People who watch TV too much get it. People who don't move around also get it, okay? So many people do suffer from very tight hamstrings, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the chair a little bit further away. I'm going to take a very big step back. I'm going to hold onto the chair for balance. And then I'm going to start to lean my body down. So I'm trying to form a number 7, okay? But if your hamstrings are very tight, you probably can only lower your chest down a little bit while keeping your legs straight. So as long as you feel a stretch along the back of your legs, you are good, okay? Obviously, later on when you're more flexible, you can come down and really form that number 7. But for now, not yet, okay? So I'm going to keep my right foot in front. Right foot 1 step in front. And then I try and go lean forwards once again. Now that stretch becomes a lot more intense. And if you find that it's tiring to rest your hands on the back of the chair, you rest your forearms there. This might be a whole lot more comfortable for your upper body. After all, we are focusing more on stretching the back of your thigh on the front leg, all right, the right leg. So feel that stretch along the back of the thigh, okay? If you need to, you can bend the knee a little bit, okay? If you can, you try and keep it straight, okay? So let's stay here for another 5 more breaths, okay? 4 more. Noticing how you're breathing, okay? Sometimes when you push yourself too hard, your breathing starts to turn shallow, okay? You start to hold your breath even. Don't do that because it's going to cause your muscles to tense up even more, right? 2 more breaths here. And 1 more. All right, bend that front knee and then prop your hands on the back of the chair. Push yourselves to come up and step back. We're going to change legs, okay? So left foot steps forwards, 1 big step. Lower the chest down. Let the chest lead the way. And if you're okay, you rest your forearms down. Hi, Chewy. He's very kepo, Anna, okay? And then we're going to hold it right there, keeping that front knee straight if you can, bending it if you need to. Just see what works better for you now, okay? And don't be surprised if you even feel the back of your lower leg stretching out as well, okay? If you're very tight there. We're going to stay there for another 5 more breaths, okay? Of course, if you can, you lower your chest down some more, okay? 4 more deep breaths here. And 3. 2 more. And 1. All right, bend that front knee. Push to come back up. Very nice. And then you take a step back. Shake your legs out. Okay, I'm going to move my chair up towards somewhat to the center of the mat once again. So I'm going to use the seat side of the chair this time round. And we're going to do what we call the chair down dog. Okay, it's a little harder. Actually, it's a lot harder for seniors or people who are very tight to go into a down dog on the ground immediately, especially if you have wrist issues, especially if you have shoulder issues, and you're just really tight, okay? So, you know, placing weight on your hands may not be an option for you at all. Then you don't put so much weight. then you use the chair instead. So option 1, you're going to be facing the chair this way. Place your hands on the backrest of the chair. You take a big step back and you lower your chest down. You see how low you can go. Maybe you can only come down halfway. We did something like that just now. You lower down. So you see the shape. It's, if you were to turn this image 45 degrees, all right, you would actually see a V shape, all right? This is kind of like how you would look like on the ground if you're in down dog, right? Legs are straight, upper body straight, trying to bring your ears next to your arms. So if you cannot lower your chest down so much because chest is tight, shoulders are tight, you will look something like this. It's okay. Start from there, right? Now, for those who are more flexible, you just lower your chest down even more, all right? You would feel that stretch along the back of your legs. You would feel that stretch along the chest and the shoulders, okay? We're going to hold it here for another 5 more breaths. Now, you know, there's another option that you guys can do as well. So if you want to, you can place your hands on the seat and then step back your legs so that you can come lower, okay? Those who are more flexible. Of course, for a start, most of us would just be staying in the first option, okay? Hold it there for another 2 more breaths, okay? 1 more breath. And then very slowly start to make your way up into a standing position. Okay, I'm gonna have my chair face you now. Chewy, excuse me. Excuse me. Can I move you a little bit here, okay? Thank you. All right, so from here, I'm gonna sit down on the chair, little bit towards the front, all right? And then I'm gonna bring my right leg up on top. We're gonna be doing a seated pigeon, all right? A chair pigeon. So instead of asking you to go down towards the ground, stay on your chair and you're gonna get a stretch at the outside of your hips, right? So the hip area is one part that gets very tight for many people and that affects the lower back, or rather the lower back's tight and it affects the hips and the thighs as well. Either way, as you lean forwards, you're going to be stretching those 2 areas that I just mentioned, okay? So help yourself to bring your foot up onto the opposite thigh. If this doesn't work and you look more like that, it's okay. You start from there. You will still feel that stretch, okay? So if you can, foot comes closer towards the knee, right? And then we just start to lean forwards. Lean forwards. Rest your forearms against your lower leg, right? And hold it there. So you may not come so low, like trying to touch the ground. Of course, for those who are more flexible, go for it. If not, just keep your chest leaning towards your legs. Good enough. This is how it looks like from the side, okay? Like that, all right? So try to keep your back flat instead of rounding your back and dropping your head downwards, all right? Keep your chest open instead of collapsing the chest. You try to keep your shoulders away from one another across the front, right? So encourage your grandparents, your parents to do this stretch often. It actually helps them a lot with the hip mobility, okay? And then slowly coming back up. Let's change it over to the other side. All right, left leg comes up this time. Drop that knee, and then let's go, coming down. So like I mentioned earlier, if you cannot cross your leg this way, the foot comes out more to the other side, it's okay, you start from there, right? Those who are more flexible, you're gonna lower your fingers down towards the ground, right? Holding it there. Excuse me. For another 4 more breaths. Last 3. 2 more deep breaths. 1 more. And then very slowly coming on up. Very nice. So there you have it. That's your Yoga for Seniors Part 2 for today. I hope you all enjoyed it. And yes, the initial part with dynamic movements followed by static may be a bit more challenging, but understand that these are movements that the body should be able to handle. Over time, it just gets easier. You just have to get started, that's all. And don't expect yourself to finish all the repetitions, all the exercises with ease, all right? Yeah, the body is a very smart machine, and if you give it the opportunity to do these exercises often, it's just like training. It just gets easier. So never tell yourself, I'm too tired, I can't do yoga. I'm too tired, I can't do these stretches. It is because you keep telling yourself that you just get tighter and tighter and tighter. And then nothing changes, right? The flexibility will never come to you, right? So give yourself the opportunity to try some of these exercises out just start with 2 or 3. Just tell yourself, I'm just going to stay there for 2 or 3 reps. I'll just do 2 or 3 repetitions, and then that's it. And before you know it, you're actually doing more. Right? So I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you do have any questions, please reach out to me. I'm Dawn. And thank you so much for Sport Singapore making this possible for everyone to be doing all these exercises and staying active at home. Right? Hope to have you all joining me in the subsequent videos coming up again soon. Bye.